friends, and welcome to another episode of I Want to Be Defined by the Things I Love. I'm your host, Kelly Nasser, and in today's episode, I'm just gonna start it with drop everything now, meet me in the pouring rain. Okay, we are gonna do a huge deep dive into Speak Now. Taylor's version of Speak Now is coming out on 7/7, and I did these videos, started on TikTok and then put it on YouTube, of 10 things about the original Speak Now from 2010. And there's a lot of interesting comments, and particularly around one subject and one song. So I want to get into that here, talk about some of the dynamics of that, and then just go down a little bit of memory lane. I know that, there could be new Swifties, there could be people who weren't really fans then, or they could be complete Speak Now diehards. And I think it's good to just kind of refresh and get ready for Taylor's version, okay? I'm gonna put my coffee down. It is early in the morning. So I told you I'm like a one-woman show here, right? And I need to figure out lighting, because if you're watching this on video, I hope that you're more listening to my voice, but on a podcast. But if you're watching this on video, I'm really trying to figure out lighting. I love this little corner. I think I probably need some light here, but that is on my to-do and grow list, and it'll happen. It's gonna happen. Okay, without further ado, which is not something I say often, but let's get into it. Okay, so Speak Now, Taylor's third album. It is a really gorgeous album. It's really pretty. I have to say that I knew a lot of the songs, but at that time when she released this in 2010, I was not like a huge Swiftie. I mean, she was 19. I was getting married. I was like buying a house, moving to Philadelphia. So at that point in my life, I was not connecting to all the Taylor Swift stuff, but that's why I really love kind of educating myself and, like I said, going down memory lane and kind of seeing where Taylor came from to kind of understand Speak Now. So we did get a lot of information since last week. Taylor provided us with the back cover. She looks gorgeous. We know the vault tracks. We know what's on the album. She has some collaborations with Paramore and I think someone else, right? Fall Out Boy, yeah, Fall Out Boy. And so, sorry, my dog's like looking at me right now. But yeah, very excited to hear the songs, hear everything. So let's get into what I posted about Speak Now. So the first thing about Speak Now that I mentioned was that Taylor was originally going to name this album Enchanted. So she came to, oh my gosh, this is so funny. I'm just laughing because in my video I said Scott bruschetta, or I called him bruschetta or something, and because sometimes I'm just trying to do things really, really fast and talk really fast. And I'm also from Jersey, so I feel like in my brain, how you just associate a name with something. So Scott Borchetta, instead of bruschetta, whatever I said. He is the Scott of Big Machine Records, who discovered Taylor, who signed her first contract, and then now is known for the guy who sold her masters and why she's doing the re-recordings in the first place. So anyway, when she said that the album was going to be called Enchanted, he said no. He's like, Taylor, you're moving on, you're growing up, this is your third album, and kind of the time of princesses and stories and castles, you need to move on from that. Which is kind of interesting that kind of came out. But so Taylor apparently took a step back, went for a walk or something like that, and came back and said that the album was going to be Speak Now. So there's a song on the album called Speak Now. The concept of Speak Now is a little bit different from that actual song where she's interrupting a wedding, but kind of uniting all the emotions that you feel and that Taylor felt throughout this album. And then that moment when you have the chance to say something, and do you take that moment? And the consequences if you don't, right? So I actually like Speak Now. I kind of was speculating, like, I feel like she should do a little bit of, you know, FU maybe to Scott and all the master stuff and recall it Enchanted, but I totally understand from artistic creativity and master's ownership that she can't just call it like Speak Now, Enchanted, Taylor's version and whatnot. But I do think that is the reason why Enchanted is the only song that she plays from Speak Now at the Eras Tour. I do think it's going to be interesting to see if that changes after Speak Now Taylor's version comes out, because she's definitely going to want those songs to be streaming and getting those hits like the previous, like her previous albums, like Red when it came out, and the All Too Well version was such a big like to do that I think like giving that moment to it at the Eras Tour could be really interesting. But again, I don't know how she completely switches up her Eras Tour and set list, but you know, she's incredible. I'm sure she can do anything. Okay, so that was number one. The second thing is that the album is completely self-written. So Taylor wrote this album over a 2-year period while she was touring for Fearless. And she would be on tour, and she would be, you know, in a hotel room in Arkansas at 3 a.m. And, you know, there's no one else to collaborate with, and these ideas are coming through her head, and she just started writing all these things down. So I really love that, because that is why, if this were a movie, was on a bonus track, and then that's been moved to Fearless to kind of keep that purity of Taylor being a songwriter. And she definitely leaned into that, into the fact that she's a songwriter, that she makes her own songs, you know, she makes her own music. And, you know, there's probably critics out there, and I feel like with the critics, like, it fuels Taylor, right? She listens to all that negative stuff, and she does those like, okay, you don't think I can write an album? I'm gonna write an album entirely by myself and see how it does, and let's see, you know? So I love that. And then that brings me to kind of my third point that I mentioned, is that when she wrote this, you know, she experienced and wrote and recorded these songs from like, you know, 18, 19, coming into her 20s. And this is definitely a period where the blueprint for a female artist, very similar to Taylor, would be, you know, you're kind of like this young ingenue sweetheart, and then when you start hitting your 20s, you kind of have that creative license to be like wearing less clothes and singing about sex and kind of becoming more of a sexy, edgier version of what you were before. And that was like how you're supposed to stay relevant and whatnot. However, Taylor completely flipped the script on that. Not flipped the script, but she decided that that was not authentically her. I also included as a visual, when she was asked about this, you know, she didn't condone it. She did not put like anybody down about it. She just said, you know, she is not going to like fault or judge anyone if that's how they have fun, but her version of having fun is to feel like she's 7 years old again. So she was staying true to herself and saying that she's just not naturally edgy, sexy, or cool, which she actually said in an interview. She said she's creative, she's hardworking, and she really wanted to focus on the fact that she's a songwriter and not that she's like sexy Taylor. Which then really solidified this Miss Americana, this good girl image, but and America's sweetheart. So that was really good. And I think that really kind of, I don't know if, I mean, there's always going to be critics, right? There's always going to be someone who's going to say, you shouldn't have been sexy, you should have been sexy, or, you know, if you're going to write songs, and don't use them as weapons and whatnot. And that's where the criticism of this album comes in, because it was a well-received album, but one of the major criticisms was, and this is where we're going to get deep, friends, is into the vengefulness. So as you know, there's a lot of great songs on Speak Now, but one of the most controversial ones, and I don't know if, I mean, controversial may be giving it a little bit too much weight, but one song with a lot of opinions is Better Than Revenge. So, and this is where I'm receiving the most comments on the original post that I did talking about this. And, in that video, I talked about how this song was, this is probably Taylor's most edgy song. A lot of people said it sounds very Paramore-ish. And in it, she's not but she's not calling out the guy that wronged her. She's calling out the woman who her ex-boyfriend slept with. And she says the line, she's an actress, but she's better known for what she does on the mattress. And so, it's been labeled slut shaming and revenge. And, right now, I think as a new Swiftie, you have this vision of Taylor where she's very lift women up and vigilante shit. Is she's saying stuff like, ladies always rise above, and and you need to calm down. Like, we all know now, we all got crowns. But, when you're 19 years old, I can't say that you're that, you do not have that as an initial reaction. And these are diary entries that Taylor has, and she's expressing something that happened to her. This is what she wrote down, and that is what Taylor felt in 2010. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just authentic and what happened, right? And so there was a lot of speculation and some commentary to wonder if this song was going to be on the re-recorded album. And we know now, because she released the back cover, she released the songs that are on it, that we know that it's going to be on the album. But then the question was, does she change the lyrics? So we don't know that. We have not seen that. We have not heard that. We will not know that until July 7th. But does she change the lyrics to Better Than Revenge? So the commentary that I've been seeing is that, there have been some people who say, she should change this. She could, and I'm just presenting the argument here. I am, I don't really have, a dog in this fight. I'm not a big Better Than Revenge fan, but I have nothing to gain or lose by anything. But I love hearing the opinions about this, because I do think that it is interesting hearing both sides. So one side is saying that, she can definitely convey the feelings and the emotions of that song without, saying this girl is better known for sleeping with people than she is for her day job, right? But then there's the other side of the artistic side of, if she's going to own her masters, she needs to keep the lyrics the same, and she needs to kind of keep it whole. And if she changes it, then people are just going to listen to the original version, and she's recording these masters in order to get people to listen to Taylor's version, right? So it's kind of defeating the purpose. And then there's other people who are like, this isn't slut shaming at all. It's one line. Feminism can wait is some of the comments that I was seeing. And I was posting that, and then this morning I was listening to, so my friend got me into Heather Dubrow's podcast, Let's Talk, and she had Tinks on. And, I'm not a huge Housewives fan. I used to watch it back in the day, but I like listening to it. And they started talking about the whole cancel culture and people, putting their opinions out and believing it's right, and not allowing people to make mistakes or to, it kind of creates this fear of saying anything, of saying something wrong, of putting yourself out there, because someone's not going to like it, you're going to be attacked, and then you're going to feel, like you're wrong, and you're ashamed, and you shouldn't be saying things. We shouldn't be, we should allow people to be true to themselves and to have opinions, and not everyone has to like it, but you don't have to attack someone for having a different opinion than you, which I really resonate with. And so I was like, in the spirit of that, I'm gonna put my opinion out there where, you know, like I said, I don't think that this aligns with Taylor's brand currently. So if Taylor put out a song right now, if she put out Better Than Revenge and she was calling out another person, then I don't think I would really, I think that would leave a sour taste in my mouth, because Taylor's music has evolved so much that back then she definitely had a viewpoint that she was kind of this innocent bystander, and she didn't really do anything wrong. There is one song that she changed, and it's on this album, which is Back to December, where she kind of admitted that you're a nice guy and I'm the one who's at fault. But most of her songs are like, I love you, you can't see it, you belong with me, you're with someone else, you cheated on me, I hate your pickup truck, and I'm somebody who's doing all the right things, and why are these bad things happening to me, right? But no, I mean, starting with 1989, and like, she starts admitting that, you know, she's not a saint. She's not a saint, right? She has done things wrong. She has messed things up. She has, I don't know, maybe she knows what it's like to be that person who someone else is being cheated on. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I do think that she's evolved more, that it's more complex than just calling out somebody and saying like, I'm good and right and virtuous and you're wrong. So keeping with that, if she was to do it now, I don't think that it would be a good move for her. However, this is a moment frozen in time. This is what she felt when she was 19 years old, and I don't think that she should change it. I don't think she should change it. From an artistic standpoint, from a preservation standpoint, I think she should keep it. And if you don't like it, then I don't think you should listen to it. I think that's what it is. I mean, the song's out there. By re-recording it and putting it in Taylor's version is not going to change anything that happened in 2010. Okay. So here's the twist that I have. She is putting out the vault tracks. Okay. I would hold her accountable. I mean, not hold her accountable, but like, I personally would have a feeling if one of the vault tracks dives into this deeper and is just like, you're a whore, like, you know, calling out in a very negative way. Like, I don't think that she should be doing that, because again, I don't think that's part of her professional brand right now. Okay. I do wonder if one of the vault tracks kind of expands on that. Like, you know, maybe it's a song about talking about like your anger and how you say things, and it's directed towards that song, and there's like kind of a crossover or like a mirror to that song. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And I think what's also interesting is, and I don't have like all the information because I literally just saw it this morning when I like woke up and after like Googling something, but well, I was Googling the fact that some people were commenting like, do people really think this song is slut shaming? Do they think it's that bad? And, you know, a simple Google search of Better Than Revenge, you'll definitely see some Reddit threads. And I stumbled across a Rolling Stone article, and I thought, which was really interesting, because I don't know Paramore that much. I can't say that I am very familiar with their songs, but there is apparently a Paramore song that was called out for calling someone a whore, maybe, or something like that, or and that Paramore did not sing the song for a very long time because there was backlash from the song, but now everyone's kind of moved on from it and it's okay, and they recently performed it. So, and I don't have the exact song that Taylor is collaborating with Healy on, but I'm wondering, like, I feel like that could be a nice little poetic moment if they're both singing those songs, since they both experienced writing songs, getting like shamed for it and whatnot. But yes, I would love to hear your opinions. Are you a huge Better Than Revenge fan? Are you like, I have no idea what's going on, but I think that's wrong, or I think that Taylor should do this? Let me know in your comments, and in your comments, in the comments below in this video. And yes, but I wanted to move on, and I put my coffee down, and I just need to take a little sip of water, but okay. Sticking on the Better Than Revenge, I think we should go into the backstory of that and what it's about and all that. So Better Than Revenge is about, is believed to be about, it has never been confirmed by Taylor, that it's about Camilla Bell, who dated Joe Jonas shortly after Taylor dated Joe. And Taylor also disclosed to us that she was broken up over a 27-second phone call, and that was the end of their relationship, which we're going to get into in a second, but when I go into some more of the songs. But so then he goes on to date Camilla Bell. She's an actress, and that relationship doesn't last very long. But in 2016, when kind of all the things were happening to Taylor, like the whole Kanye thing and the Snakegate and the essay trial, like was happening, in 2016, Camilla Bell sent a tweet out and posted a tweet about like, no need for revenge. Like basically karma is going to happen to you. And she didn't specifically say to Taylor, but a lot of people believe that is Camilla confirming that the song is about her. So that's basically the most confirmation that we have on that. But I mean, at this point, Joe is not with her, Camilla's not with her. It is years and years later, and that, now Taylor sends presents to her ex-boyfriends like Joe and Sophie Turner. Okay, so we're gonna move on. So we got into Better Than Revenge, and I wanna before I go into some other songs and things that people are about, other songs that are about Taylor exes, I want to talk about one of the interesting things about this. And obviously, if you've been a Swiftie for a really long time, you know this, but newer Swifties, I mean, we're all just trying to learn and educate and whatnot. But so you may see a lot on Swift Talk. So I feel like it sounds like I said Swift Talk, but people talking about Taylor Swift on like social media, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You'll hear about like, yes, everyone's looking for Easter eggs. So now Taylor puts all these Easter eggs into her music videos. But she also used to put little hidden messages in her, the booklets for her CDs. But now with like most people, I mean, there's a lot of people who buy all of her merch and buy the like albums and the CDs and cassettes and whatnot, but back then she used to make really people look at the lyrics and to really like hone in and absorb the lyrics. She used to put hidden messages in the songs, and so you would have like Speak Now, and there would be like, I'm not the kind of girl who like barges in a party, and like the G would be capitalized, or there's the uppercase Y, and then if you put all the letters together, it spelled out a little message. So on this TikTok, and I will link that TikTok, and I'll also link the YouTube ones if you're just like on there. Someone has decoded and put it online, so there's a whole decoded message of all the songs and what they mean. So like really sweetly, it says like, long live, and it's the messages for you, right? And that's just saying that long live is a song to her fans. And then she has songs that says like, I think some of the messages are like Toby and Adam, and I think like Better Than Revenge is like You Thought I'd Forget, and you have Last Kiss is Forever and Always, like telling you it's kind of about Joe. And I thought that was really, really fun. So definitely go and check that out. And so that's why a lot of people are so obsessed with like the Easter eggs, because that's how she does that now with music videos, is to give those clues to the fans in Easter eggs. But then she's also been doing it on her Instagram posts now, and people are trying to figure out why she's capitalizing this or why she put on 3 emojis and whatnot. So just a little backstory. That's what that's from. And if you want to check out all the ones from Speak Now, they've been decoded. Okay, so then with that, let's talk about what some of the songs are about, or who some of the songs are about, because a lot of people, I mean, again, Taylor has never really confirmed what these songs are about, but actually she did do it wasn't Rolling Stone. It was a New York Magazine article, an interview where she talks about the songs, and she talks about the song Innocent, and she does not use Kanye by name, but she does say that, there's references to the 2009 VMAs. She did sing this song at the 2010 VMAs, and not the 2010 VMAs. I think it's the Grammys. I'm going to say it's the Grammys, or it's the 2000. I'll fact check and just put that in there. But she sang that a year later, in 2010, when this album came out, and she does say, I think it was really important that the song wasn't about him, but the song was to him. Okay, so that's probably the most that we're gonna get, that the fact that the song is about Kanye. So that's Innocent. The general belief, and I think this is, I can't even imagine being told otherwise, but Back to December is about Taylor Lautner. Dear John is about John Mayer. And I think there was recently Taylor Lautner talked about how he's praying for John Mayer when he heard Speak Now was coming out. And there's been some funny videos of Jake Gyllenhaal passing the baton to John Mayer now that Taylor's version is over and it's time for John Mayer's turn. But anyway, so yeah, Dear John about John Mayer. Then Last Kiss. So this album is coming out July 7th, and Taylor said just in time for July 9th, and it's like, if you know, you know. And Taylor is pretty specific on details on that song, and in that song, she talks about that July 9th, and she went to a Jonas Brothers concert on July 9th in 2008. So many people believe it's about Joe, and I've also heard that the intro to that song is 27 seconds long, which aligns with the amount of time that it took for Joe to break up with Taylor. So I know, it's like a whole other level. Like, the Swifties are insane. And Taylor is just mastermind genius for doing it, or even putting it out there that she could and would do this stuff, right? So you get all those songs that I think we're gonna, and I'm really interested to hear if the vault tracks are more about, there's some more songs in there as well. Okay. So the other thing, let's see, what did I have? Okay, I think I just had the song, Mine was going to be the lead single, and that song was leaked. Taylor was on a flight to Japan, and she found out that the song was leaked, and I think had a freak out moment, but then said, okay, it got leaked on August 5th, and it's 8/5, and 8 + 5 = 13, so I guess it was meant to be. I thought that was super cute. And then this song had a lot of number ones, and it was the number 1 downloaded album, which I think is really interesting, because this was a time when digital downloads and streaming was not a big thing. People were kind of pirating and stealing music and whatnot, and this is kind of where that shift happens of people buying records and CDs and cassettes and moving towards the digital downloads. And so she was number 1 then, and she's obviously guided and changed the music industry between artists getting paid on Apple and just how she feels about artist compensation and whatnot. So lots of great things. I feel like I probably missed something about what happened with with the original Speak Now, but super excited for Taylor's version. If there's anything I missed, please put those down in the comments. Like I said, I would say if I asked for people to add anything I missed, and most people would put down just their commentary on Better Than Revenge. And so we shall see what happens with that. All right, friends, we're gonna keep moving on to Taylor Swift news. I'm gonna take a sip of water, and we're gonna talk about some stuff. So, kind of keeping on that Better Than Revenge and the cancel culture and people having opinions about stuff. People obviously had a lot of opinions about Taylor dating Matty Healy. And while Taylor never confirmed that they were together, I mean, yes, they were seen together a lot and he was going to her concerts. There were some news items about that they've officially broken up. I mean, I feel like with that relationship, it was like that, there was like a viral audio going around that was like, you know what it never was? That's serious. Like, it never was serious, it never would be serious. I think it was totally casual. She wasn't going to spend the rest of her life with Matty Healy. I mean, and he's been, I think I mentioned this before, he's been kind of apologizing half-heartedly, whatever he's been doing, kind of addressing things, but not really like owning up to anything. I think with the Ice Spice collaboration with Taylor, but yes, so people definitely have opinions about who Taylor should be dating and holding those people accountable. But it seems like she has moved on and she's gonna have some fun. She's totally gonna have some fun. She's been like seen out and about. Actually, I bought this I have like hair on it, but this is very similar to something that she wore. I think I was talking last time how I bought like a white two-piece set. It's super cute. My Reformation one hasn't come yet, so I definitely have to check that out. But this is just from Amazon. I literally took it out of the bag and put it on. I hope you can't tell that there's lots of wrinkles on it, but here we are. Okay, I don't know if the last one we talked about international tour dates, but those have been added. South America, Sabrina Carpenter. And I think also it's interesting, I think Sabrina Carpenter had a response. She had a response song to Driver's License with Olivia Rodrigo, and now Sabrina's on the South America tour of the Eras tour, and I believe that they added an additional Argentina date because of demand, and that just recently happened. But just like, it's so awesome. I can't wait to hear the Europe dates. I say that in a way that like I'm gonna go to Europe and go to a Taylor Swift concert, but I don't know, maybe it'll happen. Maybe it will. I'm hoping. But speaking of the Eras tour, and we'll wrap it up with this, is that, okay, so my last week's prediction for Chicago included You All Over Me, and it happened, and not only did it happen, but Maren Morris was there, and she sang it, and she sang like an additional line versus just doing the backups. So fun, so awesome, so excited for that. And next week is Detroit, and I was like, I'm just gonna do one prediction for Detroit, and that is King of My Heart, which I love that song so much. In that song, she says, it's always like so fast. It's like, salute to me, I'm your American queen, and you move to me like a Motown beat, and rule the kingdom in sound love. So her talking about Motown, I think she's gonna play King of My Heart. She's moving fast towards like all these 1989 songs, and I like the surprise of doing, what's the song from 50 Shades of Grey? I Don't Want to Live Forever. Oh my gosh, I played that this week as a cool down in my class yesterday, and I was like, this is such a great cool down song. But yeah. Okay, friends, I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna head out. I got some mom life stuff to do and cleaning up this place, gonna walk the dog. And I don't think we got a lot going on, but I feel like Taylor always surprises us. So there could be some great stuff. I'm also wondering if we're gonna get a music video, because that could be really fun for Speak Now. I'm sure we will. like, I don't know if she'll do a vault track or if she'll do like an actual, I think she'll do both. I think we'll get like a vault track one, just thinking about like, I bet you think about me and what she did for Red. But yeah, all right. I'm just rambling on now because I'm thinking about more things, but I will be back next week, and thank you for hanging around. And I hope that you have a fearless week. I hope that you speak now. I hope that you don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, okay? It's owning up to them, saying I'm sorry, moving on, knowing what's right, and educating yourself as much as you possibly can before putting your foot in your mouth, right? If you know something or you feel something about a certain way, then that's your authentic self. If you are just saying things, like the other day, my son said like SOB or something like that. And I'm like, do you know what that means? Like, do you know what that means? Or is that something that you just heard and you're just repeating it? Like, don't go around just repeating things that you heard or you think, other people, like, how do you really feel about something? And do you know what you're talking about? But don't be afraid to make mistakes, all right? I probably said some things in this video today that, I don't know, like may rub someone the wrong way, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me to own up to something. I will do better next time, but I am not going to live in fear of speaking, right? So Taylor is telling us to speak now, like use that moment, use your voice. Do not be afraid of things. Be afraid of the consequences of letting things go by and you never said it. Okay, friends. With that, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Bye.